The important thing is that the financial service providers need to understand that the main customer contact is done through the main retailers. Yes. So they try to build, they have what is basically quite homogeneous services that they try to build customer loyalty on top of. Yeah. And that's hard. That's really hard. So what they need to understand is that they need to work closer with us. Yeah. And on the same team as us, because they need to understand that, you know, it's not like it used to be back in the days where you went into the bank with your hat in your hand and you asked nicely. Yeah. You know, the competition, the deregulation is done so well that it's the ones who has the customer contact that controls a lot more of it.
Erik, thank you so much for having us here with you. It's great seeing you again.
Yeah, no, it was great in Malmö. Thank you.
It is. No, it's a real pleasure. Yeah. Just for those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, can you please briefly tell us who you are and what you do?
You know, I'm pretty much the payment geek in Rema1000 Norway. I'm head of identity and payments. I've been working in the payment industry for the last 15 years. Okay. Mainly on the supplier side, working for companies like Nets, Verifone, building solutions for the large tier ones in the borderline between loyalty, identity, and payments. So that's what I've done.
Okay, now, for those who might not be familiar with what Rema1000 does, can you tell us what's its core value proposition and how does it differentiate itself from other retailers in the Nordics?
Okay, Rema1000 Norway, we are part of the Enlightens group, which is a huge family group within retail and kiosks and petrol. And, you know, we are the ones who want to be different, you know. So we are very much, you know, customer focused, simplicity, effective, low price retail. That's what we're all about. Okay. So we are a franchise concept where the merchant owns their own store, has a strong connection to the local community, and we focus on our customers' needs and the best customer journey in the market.
All right. Well, that's a great ambition. The best customer journey in the market.
Yep.
All right. Now, we come from the fintech side, and we speak to payment companies, to PSPs regularly. We're very keen to understand how does a retailer like Rema1000 perceives the payment or payment solutions from the other side of the table?
From the card scheme and the banking scheme, it's very much about the risk. You know, it's about to limit the risk and ensure that, you know, you have as much revenue as possible, right? Well, we are all about the customer experience and the customer journey. You know, of course, you know, we want to have our money. We want to get our money. Everyone wants to do that, but we want to do it in a way that has the customer in focus. Right. You know, where we have the great customer experience, where we have speed, and you know, our slogan is the simple is often the best. So that's very much our focus in this area.
Right. Okay. So in line of that, with simplicity, we've seen a lot of innovation coming into the payment space that has tried to simplify it and make the payment more seamless. Yep. How have technologies like open banking, open data impacted the way in which retailers process payments? We
are at the start of a revolution there, because, you know, obviously, you know, when PSD2 came, we all thought, okay, great, this will be our way of doing it simpler, faster, better. You know, finally get rid of all this technology from the 60s with batches and plastic cards, and be able to build fast, simple, good customer experiences based on what the customer have, which is their phone, not the plastic card. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone as fast as we hoped, and we do think that some of the players in the business, which makes a lot of money from the existing models, might not be that interested in supporting that journey that I think will come.
Very interesting. Okay, I understand that payment is just one component of the entire value chain that enables a customer to come into a shop. choose their items, leave, and then repeat business, right? And data seems to be a key component of that whole holistic end-to-end experience. Yep. Can you help us understand how are retailers using data and open data to better serve their customer needs and to anticipate their demands?
Lots of elements come into my mind here. Yeah. As my title, it's identity and payments, because I do not think it's about payments. Right. It's not about payments at all. It's about identifying who is where doing what, and then help them fulfill their needs. As an example, like if you go into one of our kiosks, like neither is not an airport, and you just want a cup of coffee, the risk for me is extremely low. So, the customer we should identify them with the right level of security based on what they want to do, based on my risk as a merchant, which is just a cup of coffee, which is close to nothing. So there we can just have a really simple walkthrough. You pick up your cup of coffee. I think I know who you are. Let's say 70% sure. Right. That's enough to give you that cup of coffee. So that's part of the scalability. The other is that with these new solutions and with your bring your own device, and this is where even new solutions such as Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and Vipps is struggling because we don't identify the customer before at the end of the journey, right? We identify you as you leave the shop. Yes. And that's cool. I can give you your points based on what you have done. Yeah. But I really would like to identify you and communicate with you as you enter the shop. Preferably, if you look at the slide here, license recognition. With that I can recognize you as you drive into the parking house. Yes. And I can start communicating with you. Right. And I can say, okay, go and shop at my shop. You get 2 hours free parking instead of 1, right? Yeah. And you go into the shop and I can say, special price for you, my friend. I know you like this kind of bread. Yeah. So now I give you 30% off on that bread if you go and pick that up. Right. Yeah, so this whole identity thing means that I can identify you earlier, I can communicate with you earlier, and I can have an influence on what you actually shop and what you do.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And this can be, it's so many ways we can do this. One is like I have too much bread left in my shop, and instead of throwing it away, I can sell it really cheap to you, which is great from an environmental perspective. Also, it means that, my kids are grown up. I don't need diapers anymore. I don't want to have diaper commercials. I want to have commercial for stuff that I'm interested in. Yeah. And to make shopping personal and individual. That's what we can do with identity.
Of course.
And that's a cool thing. And this is where, we talk about payments, but, payment is just a part of it. And it should be a seamless part of it, not the main part.
Right, of course.
And I think that's where the business is off the mark. Yeah. To put it that way.
But that's key, and I think that's key for our audience also to understand. I think what you've just said, that payment is just a small part of the entire value chain, and it's more about serving the needs of the customer ultimately with data, with knowledge, with understanding, and bringing that loyalty.
Yeah, but it's the same, like Apple Pay. Apple Pay is great. The customer experience is great, but it's still same shit, new wrapping. Right. Yeah, it's nothing fundamentally new with that. It does what you do with a plastic card, only better.
Yes. So I think there's a distinction here between doing all things in a new way versus doing new things.
Indeed.
And when I hear you say is that the important thing for a retailer is like, how do we do new things? How do we use technology to bring new value propositions in the customer journey?
Yeah, and those who are not able to do that, both on the retailer side and on the payment side, very soon we'll find them in a Kodak position.
Right. Okay, very interesting. So So would you say then that the lowering barriers for entry into the payment space, combined with this closer and closer integration between financial services and retail, is creating a power shift?
No doubt about it. It will, because if you look at this cost, just a cost thing, if you, especially in where we are now, with increased interest rates and everything, people have less money. They are getting more and more cost sensitive. And the cheapest retailer wins at the moment. You see that in all markets. And the cost of payment today and the cost in these areas is astronomical,
right,
for us retailers. And if we are able to shave off, let's say, 0.5% on our prices, with more effective ways of doing it, we are able to shave off 1% or 2% on our costs by having by throwing away less goods and being able to sell it out. We managed to get up our volume, get down the prices, be more effective. That has a huge impact on our business.
Right.
And that's what this is about.
Yeah, of course. And then you can pass that saving over to the customer.
Indeed. And that's what we do in Rema. That's very much what we do. And on the other side, it also needs to be organic shift. Because, and that's where you have a lot of great concepts, with full service shops, etc. And it works in certain areas, but it's kind of a big bang. You've seen this Amazon stuff with the cameras.
Yeah,
it's great, but it's a big bang and we need to do it organically, because we need to serve, all the different customer segments. While transforming.
Yes.
So we need to do the whole thing while running.
The proverbial changing the wheels while you're riding the bike.
Indeed, and that's what we really need to do to be able to change. And and the only real equivalent I can see to this is what happened in the banking sector when the internet banks came.
Right.
And they all had to shut down all their filials. The small shops they had everywhere. Because it was a radical change with the internet bank. People had their bank on their computer, in their phone. The same will happen here with identification and payments.
Okay, so that's really fascinating to hear. Now, what would you say are the based on the trends that are coming up in the market, both in financial services and in retail, what do you think are the ones perhaps that are more transformational? You mentioned identity being a very important component.
Everything will happen on your phone.
Okay.
If you take the metro now, you do it all on your phone.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The same thing will happen in retail. You will sign up for loyalty, you will sign up for payment, everything in your phone. You will have your shopping list in your phone.
Yeah.
You will scan in your phone. You will have everything in your phone. That will happen.
Yeah.
Then you will have the early communication, as I mentioned. But it will be a bit different in the Nordics than I think maybe in Denmark and mainland Europe. And that is due to our geography. Because Sweden, I think it's the fourth biggest country in Europe. Finland is fifth, and Norway is seventh or eighth, something like that, right? And together we are how much is it? 15, 20 million people.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Right.
Huge areas, lots of mountains, big distances, right? So it means that home delivery doesn't really work.
Right. Okay.
It's a reason you don't have Amazon up here, but you have them in the Netherlands.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
I never really realized that.
Norway, we are 90% mountains, 3% glaciers. So it means that we will still, to have a guy driving your food home to you, it doesn't make sense here. You will still have the shop you need to go to.
Yeah.
So that's why you cannot really. We will still be a big. Different. So I think this in-store experience will be important for us for many, many years to come.
Right.
Until you have fully automated solutions like drones or whatever is called.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Now, I would love to understand from your perspective, what are the main hurdles from collaborating with perhaps fintechs and maybe payment service providers that you experience as a retailer?
Some are really easy to work with. Like we have a great cooperation with many, like BankAccept, the local schemes, BankAccept, Dankort, the local schemes we have a great cooperation with. We also cooperate but the banks and the card issuers can be an issue. And it's because, they have a very short-term view. Like they can make money by issuing cards and having card transactions on the traditional payment schemes.
Yes.
And the international payment schemes, their main motivation is to business as usual, turn up the fee a bit, and then they buy up everyone who challenges them.
Yeah.
And this is a challenge, but that's why you see initiatives like Nordic Initiative, which you are aware of, because what is new and to address these hurdles is that you see that the large retailers start to take control of this.
Right.
And I do think, and excuse my French, if they carry on like this, you will start to see initiatives from the retail industry where they start to have their own payment methods outside of the control of the international schemes.
Right.
And in the Nordics, if you look at how many percentage of the transactions that are within just a few of the main players, it can happen.
I sense that, at least from what you've shared with us, that customer intimacy is a very, very important element for retailers.
Yes.
What do you think financial service organizations can learn from retail about curating and creating experiences that really delight their customers?
The important thing is that the financial service providers need to understand that the main customer contact is done through the main retailers. Yes. So they try to build, they have what is basically quite homogenic services that they try to build customer loyalty on top of. Yeah. And that's hard. That's really hard. So what they need to understand is that they need to work closer with us. Yeah. And on the same team as us, because they need to understand that it's not like it used to be back in the days where you went into the bank with your hat in your hand and you asked nicely. Yeah. The competition, the deregulation is done so well that it's the ones who has the customer contact. Yeah. That controls a lot more of it. Right. So and this is again back to the Nordic Initiative. That's what we try to do there. We don't want to dictate anyone what to do, but we try to build a cooperation with them, so they work more with us.
Of course. Right, and this is the understanding where you should collaborate versus where you should compete, and then making sure that there's a distinction between those two things, right? Yeah.
But like now that basically you can sign up for a bank account through your phone in the store in real time. Okay. That's what you can do with BankID, NemID, the strong SAA methods we have available today. Right? So and we are in a position, we can give the customer something there and then if they do something that benefits several parties.
Right.
And that's a big shift.
Now, Erik, I think it's really eye-opening what you're sharing with us. I'm keen just to close, to get an understanding from what do you think will be the future of payments, specifically in retail? What do you foresee coming in the next 3 to 5 years?
Next 3 to 5 years, I think that it will be all about the phone. I do think that payment and the whole customer journey in the phone with identification, communication, shopping lists, everything. It's like I showed you downstairs, like you go into the shop, you start to pick the goods, you scan it with your phone, you put it in the bag straight away, and you do pay on the phone and you leave. Yes. That's a good customer experience. Yeah. And I think that will be the next big thing. Right. So basically expanding that seamless experience for shoppers across the entire population of the Norway and the Nordics, so that it becomes mainstream. And then I think you will start to see that the different retailers start to cooperate within those apps.
Right.
You know, and I think that will be a reaction to a lot of the fintech players being too slow.
Right.
Because this is not something that the retailers want to do, but it's something that I think they feel that they have to do. And you see it already with like Trumf, you know, where they started to expand their loyalty program from outside of retail into florists, bookstores, etc., where they start to expand their loyalty program, and effectively their points start to be a payment method across different segments.
Yes.
And I think you will start to see that as well. And this is where, you know, I really try to have an open hand out to the traditional players. You know, they have to move faster if they want to jump on board the train, because it is moving. And all of us retailers see that we need to be fast here if we want to stay competitive for the future.
Of course. Well, Erik, you've given us a lot to think about. It's really refreshing hearing that perspective from the other side of the table. So I'd just like to finish by thanking you for having us here, for inviting us, and really for giving us so much insight to really ponder on. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And great to have you here. And you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Erik.